Hello and welcome back to another Driven Catalyst live stream. It's Friday, baby, and we are gonna dive right in. I am very hopeful that I have finally solved a problem that has been plaguing me since the beginning of these live streams, and that is pixelated thumbnails. Yesterday, while going through old live streams to try and farm potential YouTube shorts that could be made, I realized that there is a consistency to thumbnails that look worse than others. And that consistency is all of the thumbnails that are really badly pixelated are thumbnails of live streams that I have used the native YouTube studio to live stream with. The thumbnails that look kind of good are the ones that I was using the open source broadcasting software, which, to Remy's credit, he kind of said that when we were meeting, but I had initially kind of brushed it off because I assumed that the thumbnail in particular he was talking about that was better than the others, was a screenshot. It was a screenshot of a screen recorded screen. I didn't piece together the fact that, like, oh, well, yeah, that's one of the open source software streams. And basically, hold on, like, let me play with my webcam a bit, my monitor. Also, I'm like brutally hungry right now. And so I am a bit afraid of like the noises. I think my stomach is going to creak a lot today on live stream. So, like, apologies in advance. I just went live before thinking to take care of that. That's traffic. That wasn't my stomach creaking. But how haunting would it be? So, I finally have figured out basically how to nail down the problem, and I'm going to figure out how open source, like if they convert the file, because at this point, I'm exporting the same way. I am making the thumbnail using webcam to take the picture, and then I'm editing and exporting from Photoshop. But for whatever reason, when it is uploaded through open source, it looks good. But when I put it directly into YouTube Studio, it looks bad. Which doesn't make any sense to me personally, but it at least is a consistent variable that is causing things to go wrong. So now I have a bit more of a lead to chase down. So I'm gonna do that. I was initially planning to do it on live stream, but then it's Friday and I wanted to hold my mic. And as I'm sitting here kind of talking through it, I'm realizing that, like, I don't, that's gonna be like watching paint dry. You wanna watch me surf Reddit without me even being able to screen share? Lame. I'm not gonna do that to y'all. Also worth noting, I'm sure literally no one cares, but I trimmed my bangs earlier this week. And I think they are not lined up correctly. So that's something that I'm going to fix. But like when you're sitting here staring at yourself, talking to yourself online, it's just all of these things get all the more noticeable. And so I just feel like the elephant in the room, I have to address it. My bangs are not even, and it's because I cut them earlier this week. More notably, though, this week, Severance Season 2 premiered, and I watched the first episode last night. And so I'm just going to talk about that. I feel like that is the pop culture moment. And I think we can all enjoy that. And I'm certainly going to enjoy it. It's a fun Friday. Let's talk about Severance. Do, 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 do. Absolutely so unspeakably depressed that I didn't get to go to the Grand Central Station pop-up, though, because what? I live in Texas, and what? That was in New York City, and New York City is what? One of the best, the greatest city in the world. I do love New York. I have a friend that lives there, and they made it to the pop-up the day after, so not when Adam Scott was there. But I slid up on their story. I said, "I am so jealous," in all caps, and then in parentheses, "happy for you." But oh my god, living the dream, literally living the dream. Um, but I'm seeing such cool, interesting commentary on how impactful this choice pop-up was, and, like, let me find it actually. We'll just, like, dive into the world of Severance and really talk about it. We'll let her have her moment. Um I was, of course, using she, her pronouns to just talk about the Severance cinematic universe at large, but it did remind me of Gwendolyn Christie. Gwendolyn Christie was on, Kelly and Mark. That's what it is now, right? Kelly Ripa's husband, Mark, right? Yes. Gwendolyn Christie was on and talking about the new season. Gwendolyn Christie is going to be one of the GOAT people working in the GOAT department. So can't wait to see that. Maybe this is a hot take, and I hate to say it because I really, really did adore Gwendolyn Christie. And I loved learning and hearing more about her when she spoke on Kelly and Mark. But as a tall girl, I was over the moon, absolutely over the as a tall girl who loves Star Wars and has just been so comfortably a Star Wars girly her whole life, but, like, you know what I mean? I don't know, when you grow up and you're the tallest girl in your class and you like Star Wars, it's I don't know. It's not a "I'm not like other girls" thing, like, that's not the case. There were plenty of girls that I was friends with that we had the same interests. But, like, when you grow up and also are consuming media where, like, the itty bitty girls are also not nerds. It's I don't know. You form a complex, and it's not the complex I decided to form. It's just how media told me to feel about myself. I'm mostly kidding. I really didn't have a complex about it, but um it is fun in movies when you find out that the girl on the screen is 6'3". That's right. Gwendolyn Christie is 6'3". That's my Star Wars queen. That being said, Captain Phasma is quite possibly the most underutilized Star Wars character ever that they rolled out in The Force Awakens. They put out all the promotional stuff. Captain Phasma was on the water bottles. Captain Phasma was on the you could get the plush Captain Phasma helmet, whatever. You go to the Disney store. Disney was I am so all for us finally having more representation in media, namely a strong female villain that was gonna eat. That was gonna be so cool. We gave her no arc, plot, or development. None. We put her in quite possibly the coolest stainless steel set of stormtrooper armor. We let her walk around and be awesome and 6'3", and then we barely let her speak or do anything for the plot. Abysmal, absolutely unforgivable. I was there. It was rare I was there. I remember it all too well. So I'm absolutely over the moon that Gwendolyn Christie is now getting her moment in Severance, and I've been holding space for her in my heart since Force Awakens came out because I knew she could be awesome. I knew she was awesome, and she wasn't given the wings to fly, the wings that I would have given her. But nevertheless, she persisted, and here we are. I don't know. We're pouring one out for Captain Phasma, though. Like, I'll put some respect on her name. I just would have liked to see more. I would have liked more of an arc. It flopped. It flopped. I have never gotten more excited and then subsequently been so disappointed. But also, there were bigger fish to fry when that trilogy was coming out. So I, like, kind of haven't really come to terms with the fact that that was a huge letdown until honestly now, which is always great when you don't really realize that, man, that was a bummer until bigger and better things have come along. So, now here we are, and we're getting to see her slay with goats and Severance, and I am so excited. Um, but yeah, she was an absolute vision on Kelly and Mark, and she talked about fashion and Paris, I think, and yeah, was just so awesome. So, I'm really excited about that. I'm scrolling through my Twitter likes right now to find some of my Severance content I have consumed. I do think the one I'm looking for is, one that I maybe liked enough to retweet. Okay, yes. So this is Nell from Twitter. Yeah, okay. And, their tweet says, "I actually have a crazy amount of thoughts about the Severance actors playing their characters in a public glass box with fans everywhere filming to market a show that is about privacy, identity, and what it means to be a person under constant surveillance. Just genius." No, Nell, that's you. You're the genius. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I loved that. I also think that, golly, what's her name? Britt Lower. Britt Lower. Britt Lower. I want to say it right because I am absolutely obsessed with Helly R. But so her posts following it, she posted it. She said, "I have no recollection of this," which is obviously hilarious because it's her job is to go and promote the show. So she, as an actress, is like making an innie outie joke, basically. Mind blown. That's just like actually probably the most concise way to say everything that Nell on Twitter just said so poignantly and with more words, which were helpful words to have. But like Britt just totally just nailed it down right there with I have no recollection of this. Hilarious with awesome photos. And then of course, let's visit the Ben Stiller tweet that I did retweet because I love Ben Stiller. As hashtag Severance Season 2 finally streams tonight, I just wanted to say thanks to all the incredible devoted fans who have waited so long and stuck with us. Our hope is you enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it. It's never finished till you engage with it. So excited for the dialogue to finally begin. Praise Kier. Which I do know all the words to the Kier hymn at this point. So let's get into it. I am now going to warn you. I'm going to talk about the first episode. I'm going to talk about my speculation about what's going to happen. We are going to go all the way into it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, click away. No one's watching, but if you're watching this in the future and you haven't somehow watched, if somehow we're in a world where you're watching me on live before watching Severance Season 2, Episode 1, crazy, click away. But okay. So we start which we got the 8-minute preview before the first episode dropped. But so we start like right after, or we think for Mark's innie, we are opening like right as he's like running into the living room and he has a picture of Miss Casey. He's his wife though in this part. In his world, he's holding it up and he's like, "She's alive." Insane, by the way. Then boom, we're on the elevator. He's getting off the elevator. We start with him running down the hallways looking for we don't know what he's looking for. He runs through the maze and then what? We find out he's looking for wellness. He's gone to find Miss Casey and his innie is going to go like they're going to touch base presumably. They're going to be like, "Oh my god, you're my wife," right? And then wellness has just been literally ripped out. Like, we see the missing doors, right? And he like notices the placard is gone. Insane. So then Mr. Milkshake, absolutely obsessed with the fact that they're calling him Mr. Milkshake now. Mr. Milkshake, actually, I'm not going to be able to go through this sequentially. This is going to be just a series of outbursts, which, like, kind of that's what these live streams are. But oh my God, Mr. Milkshake is quite possibly one of the funniest, most iconic characters in TV history. Like, everything he does well. His character is so himself in the most funny, annoying way possible. Like, you just when you hate a character so much that you start to really love them, that's like the best middle ground between love and hate, in my opinion. And I feel like Miss Cabell and Mr. Milchick, both are like there for me. They are so awful. I hate them both. They're both so annoying that it becomes iconic. And that's when you know you're doing it right. So his, like, I don't know, his whole, I could get you a coffee cozy right now, Dylan. Oh my God. Me and my dad quote that to each other all the time. Like, I'll get you a coffee. There's things you don't even know about yet, Dylan. I could get you a coffee cozy right now, Dylan. Oh my God. So good. So the fact that he's just even more a meme now, the fact that he's stepping into control, Cobell is out. She's been totally made the scapegoat. And Mr. Milkshake is now stepping in and we're making fun. We're calling him Mr. Milkshake. It just gets better and better, truly. The fact that his dumb screensaver still doesn't say his name right, and he still, like, basically is essentially powerless as he's trying to make the call to get his screensaver fixed, and they can't. It's like we never see it get fixed throughout the whole episode. Crazy. Okay. And then we also meet Miss Huang, which is a child. We have a child in the Severance universe now, and she has an innie, and we're seeing her work. That is probably one of the things I am most excited about, is to see, does Miss Huang have an outie, and will we meet her outie? My speculation based on it, so it started out as something that someone I was watching with kind of said in passing, like, whoa, but it didn't seem right and it was baseless until some savvy editing made it feel like it was being visually alluded to through cinematic language. So I'm going to air out the speculation now. What if Miss Huang is somehow Mark and Miss Casey's kid? She seems like she would be too old for that to be true. But also, like, kind of is, I feel like nothing is at this point impossible in this universe. There's this whole world we don't know about Miss Casey. What is Miss Casey's real name? Like, what is her name as Mark's wife? Miss Casey, aka Gemma. Yes, his wife Gemma. Okay, I'm gonna call her Gemma. It feels more respectful. Well, I'll go back and forth as I need to. But so what if Gemma and Mark's kid is Miss Huang? Somehow Miss Huang has come of Miss Casey, because at this point Gemma, we thought, died. So they're doing some sort of crazy crap behind the scenes, either bringing someone back to life or they have some way of brainwashing the outies, I guess. Maybe that is more probable, since it seems like the scope of what Lumen has been doing is mostly psychological, question mark. But based on some of the editing, I think Miss Huang looks, I wish this kid had a first name. It feels so insane to call her Miss Huang. But she kind of looks like the perfect mix of Mark and Gemma. And, like, if that's where this is headed, oh my god. Crazy. Okay, so that's, like, my first crazy kind of based in little to nothing, except for there was a moment where you see Mark looking at Miss Huang, and, like, we see a flash of Gemma or of Miss Casey, and it's almost like Mark is piecing together that there's a resemblance. So maybe it's a little sister, maybe it's I don't know. Just so crazy, so crazy. So excited to learn more about Miss Huang. That's kind of my bottom line. After watching the first episode, it seemed I'm still everything we've seen in trailers from my off the top of my head makes it seem like the crew, the new macro data refinement crew that we meet in episode 1 with Alia Shawkat and the Italian guy, and then Mark H. It kind of are we done with them? Question mark. I feel like we may be done with them, and I'm story-wise, I'm fine to be done with them. I love Alia Shawkat. Devastating, I don't know perfectly how to pronounce her name off the top of my head, but I do love her. I was so into Arrested Development, and, I adore her. So I was so stoked when I found out she was making her way into the Severance universe, and so I would love to see more, but also kind of arc-wise, I'm ready to be done. And then I guess moving forward, so I'm not dragging on too long, my next big final thought is I don't think Helly has made it back to work, if you catch my drift. Okay, also, let's talk about it. So we tell Mark that we are 5 months out from the, like, uprising and the rebellion, and we're making all these internal reforms and whatever. I don't believe it. I don't think it's been 5 months. I have seen other videos that have talked about and analyzed. They were just going based off of the trailers, and they were pointing out the fact that so as Milchik is moving into Cobell's old office, there's like crates, and people have pointed out that maybe they are not at the same location. Like maybe we are at a different building, which I think is given even more credence to if based on the reforms video. We watched the reform video, and the whole reform video done in claymation Rudolph style like makes a big deal about the building they're in, which seems strange unless we're being emphatic about what building they're in for purpose of it being kind of a huge deal that we're not at the same lumen location. And another thing that would support that theory, I think, is when we meet the new macro data refinement crew, they're all talking about where they were at, and I feel like I need to put some respect on his name. I don't know his name, but the Italian, I'm just gonna keep calling him the Italian. Is that okay? I'm gonna call him the Italian. But he is talking about how, like, at his Severance office, like, they don't actually have the Kier statues in Perpetuity Wing. They have brooms, and, like, he very much they're talking about the economic disparities between the Lumen locations. So it's like, okay, whoa. And the whole thing, like, when we go to the, like, conference or whatever, the gala last season, they're talking about how, like, someday everyone will have a chip and Lumen is gonna take over the world type beat. Uh, so there being, like, these little satellite locations elsewhere makes a lot of sense. Oh, and them talking about, like, oh, the first thing we speculate about is, like, what state are we in? People have their guesses on, like, blah, 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 Wyoming, yada, yada, yada. I Y'all walk with me because this whole coup that's happening, eh, this whole coup, if they just transplanted those people elsewhere, and so now all of their loved ones, not even their outies, are like have any semblance of being themselves is crazy. Because we first episode, we only interact with Innie. Except, okay, well, let's circle back. Let's circle back. Let's circle back. Because I don't think we saw Helly R this episode. I think we have only seen Helena or Helen. We're seeing Helena Keir. And that is crazy. It's crazy. And I think like it's pretty obvious at this point, I guess, because she immediately lies. I think they try and play it off as like romantic jealousy, but like let's be real. Let's talk about film. Let's talk about plot devices. No, like we all need to brace ourselves for that being a huge deal when we find out that we actually have Keir's daughter in with the other innies, and she's having to play along as they're taking everything down, but like she's not. We've got a girl in the inside and she's not committed to the coup. She's not committed to the coup, y'all. It's going to be a mess. Um okay. Let me go through my Twitter likes. So many people saying such important wonderful things. Okay. So here's a thread, and I want to do my best to. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is from Lioness Spike on Twitter. And they have included, hold on, let's check. Okay. She has included a clip from the show, and it's basically the hallway conversation where Helly and Mark talk, and they're talking about whether or not they're going to stay because they're given the choice to. At the end of the day, you can decide, should I stay or should I go? So they're talking in the hallway about, am I going to stay? Am I going to go? And this is for real when yeah, kind of, for the most part, when I think Helly is being the most suspicious, and it's like, okay, that's not our girl. I can tell. Between you and me, I'm obsessed with Helly R. I know her. That's my Shayla. Uh, and I can recognize that's not her. So Chris, Lioness Spike on Twitter says, "See, these are the line readings bugging me out. Like, she sounds sort of haughty and dismissive. Helly would be jumping all over a rebel cause." Yes, you're exactly correct. I completely agree with that take. We're gonna keep going down. Diana Severance Lockdown is the name. Tay Hi. Okay, I think this is. Yeah, okay. But so Dana Severance Lockdown is the name, not the at. Just her line delivery sounds so eerie. Technically speaking, she's not your wife. Pretty sure your outie bought the ring. Like, she would not say that. It's like if she told Dylan that his kid is basically not his kid, and we know she wouldn't do that. Right. So again, making fantastic points. So then Chris responds, 100% in the assuming she's still here. Helly would be like, we will find her. Screw the company. Spot on. Like, Helly has been so anti-establishment from the beginning, which is so interesting, by the way. And I'm curious if that is just part of her nature, if that's her character and that's how it's manifesting in this particular setting, or if they somehow have a way to change her vibe and they purposefully put someone who is more. No, that doesn't really make sense. That they would put someone who would naturally be more rebellious almost as a test case to see if she could assimilate. Um, but I don't know. There's not much merit to that thought. Okay. So then this is interesting. And this is, I think, the best take if it is true and this is Helly R, and they that if it is Helly and, like, the only motivation for how she's behaving is, what Cole Noel 4 says, I think it's because she's appalled at who her outie is. She wants to distance herself as much as she can from the outside world. So, that is a really interesting take, and I think there is a lot of if that is the truth within the universe, I think that's gonna be a really interesting thing to explore, the idea of an outie that prefers their or the idea of an innie that prefers their innie self. 'Cause we're doing I mean, it's a really interesting thought experiment to really think about and analyze the show. Um, so the idea that, like that she has made a life for herself in like, as an innie, and that she is ashamed of herself as an outie, and she prefers her innie self, and, that this awakening would happen, and she would still want to go back to work and kind of just be a sheep is basically the vibe within Severance of what they are as innies, and that she has, like, this romance budding with Mark and kind of that being her reason for being kind of shifty and, being ashamed of her outie self and not wanting to tell her, like, her cohorts what's the word? Her comrades almost, that what she discovered. I definitely understand why she would be reserved about it, but man, I was really expecting my queen to come back and be like, "Y'all, I'm in charge. I'm literally in charge of this place." Like, let me tell you what I found out about my outie. She is Kier's daughter. Like, that's crazy. But if you think a little bit longer, you realize that so after the coup and the reform and all of this, and basically the whole reason that Helly R was even in there to begin with was this idea of she's gonna play pretend and be severed and take a severed job because she wants to show that it's awesome, right? It doesn't make sense after the coup to send the biggest whistleblower back. Like, why would they do that? I really it doesn't unless we haven't been oh, I guess we have. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say we don't really know how the chips work. I was gonna say if it's a location thing and she's at work, and so just naturally the chip is that she's at work. But no, we've seen the big switchboard in the office. Like, I don't believe that they would put Helly R back in. Like, I think her innie is probably armed and dangerous, and they, like, cannot send Helly R back. So, that is, like, the thing that is most concerning to me. To me, all of it is concerning, but, like, the idea that somehow we got all the people back, and we're letting them back together, and we're giving them this idea of that they have a choice, and they get to decide should they stay or should they go. Uh, it's all very shady. It's all very, 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 very shady. And everything Ben Stiller and Adam Scott have said as they have talked about this new season is that things just keep escalating and escalating and escalating. And I can very much already tell because my nervous system was doing backflips while I was watching that episode yesterday, and really not too much happened. But just being back in that universe and subscribing to the way things work and the rules and realizing the stakes at this point in the story is just insane. So, I guess that is, like, the primary recap of, uh of all my thoughts after episode 1. I am so excited. I really, really wanna know what the hell is going on with the goats. Bert Bert and Irving, or is it Irwin? It's Irving. I love Irving. Oh, Dylan. Okay, I'm not done yet, I'm sorry. Dylan, 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 Dylan! Dylan, 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 Dylan! I love Dylan. Dylan is a hoot. The conversation we get between Irvin and Dylan and, like, the weight of what quitting and retiring means for their innies is so heavy. Oh my god. Also, we kind of got promised that Irving made contact with people as his innie, or yeah, as his innie, but we didn't see it, and the last moment that we get when we go back, okay, let me say it more plainly. I wanna know what the hell happened between Bert and Irvin's Audi. Presumably, Irvin's Audi and Bert interacted. Have they interacted before? What did that interaction look like? What the hell's going on? Did he come with some of the paperwork? Because it seems that Irvin is trying to piece together what the hell is going on at Lumen as an Audi. And so, like, oh my God, we came so close to his innie getting to make contact with Bert. Do they already know each other though? Like, what's going on there? What is going on there? Literally, damn near made me cry. Watching Dylan and Irvin talk and, like, Dylan telling oh my god, I could just cry just thinking about it. So there's, like, an eagle outside. Sorry, I got distracted. So sweet. Yeah, I really did not expect Irvin to be the most shook up. And I feel like right now Irvin is the most shook up, and I just am excited to see what the season has in store for him. And, it looks like it's gonna be a lot. Dylan, what else? Oh my god, y'all. So then Dylan gets pulled aside too by Mr. Milkshake. First of all, Dylan having beef about his best belt being cut up. Every line they give Dylan is like gold. Like I'm licking my fingers like chef's kiss. The writers deserve a kiss on the forehead. I am obsessed. Dylan is so well written. He has such a fantastic arc. His it's insane the way in the like director's commentary stuff, the making of, it's stark to see Dylan and Mr. Milchek specifically, the way that they speak just as normal human beings. It's like not even that they have an accent that's different because, like, sometimes you see Tom Holland and he talks as an American, and then you see, or he's playing an American in a movie, and then you hear him talk in interviews, and he's of course British. Like, obviously, there's a difference there. There's no difference like that. There's no difference like that with Mr. Milchick and Dylan, but they're so different. Their demeanors are so different. I mean, obviously that's what acting is, but like the amount that they truly embody their characters such that like it's weird to see them talk as real people because something seems off. Like it's so crazy. Nothing seems off about them, but like I feel at this point like I know Mr. Milchick and Dylan so well. Like they have truly created just new people of themselves for these roles, and it's phenomenal. I mean, obviously I feel that way about most all of them, but specifically I think because I didn't know, right? I don't think so. I didn't know either of them prior to the show. Like, seeing them be normal actors, the juxtaposition to them as characters is crazy. Oh, it's awesome, it's awesome. I can't say enough good things. Um, but so, yeah, like, I think Dylan is just so well written. I think he's hilarious. I think his actor deserves all his flowers. Like, it's great. Um, yeah. So yeah, I guess those are my main takeaways. I wanna know why the hell we have kids in this world. It's so sinister. I wanna know more what the world looks like. I need us to see everyone as their outies this very soon because I'm a little bit worried that they are out of touch from their people, their loved ones. I think they are totally relocated, and that's freaking me out. I am ready to see Miss Selvig again. That's the promise of the next episode. You can see this first episode was called Hello, Miss Cabell. And then next episode is Goodbye, Miss Selvig, which is startling. We have a lot in store for us, I believe. I want this to be a big season for Rickon. I actually probably one of the best ways to describe the way I feel like I am perceived in my family is I feel like I am the Rickon of my family. And I just love that Rickon gets the payoff of, like, "Dude, you, like, saved my life. You changed my life." Like, his perspective held water and was valued by the people around him, and he stopped being sort of just this goofy, hippie brother-in-law character, and, like, I don't know. I love Rickon. I identify with Rickon so much. I think he's so fun. I love Rickon and I love, golly, like, I just care so much about the show, like, way too much about the show to not know anyone's names, and it makes me sad. Oh, it's Irving, not Irvin. Sorry, that especially is embarrassing-ish. Um, ooh, look at all these people. Devin. That's right. Devin. Rickon and Devin are just I love them so much. So I need us to see Mark S's Audi end soon. I need the reassurance that Mark S still has an Audi and that he is not just being held captive in the testing floor. Is that what they call it? Yeah. I could go on and on and on, but I fear I shouldn't. So those are my thoughts on Severance. I'm going to dig more into how to fix the thumbnails. I think it's a problem with, or I think the answer lies in whatever conversion OBS does before they upload their thumbnails. I need to figure out how to do the same thing. But yeah, I am going to go out on a limb and say our next live stream will be next Wednesday. Monday is Martin Luther King Day. And so I will not be streaming, will not be at work. And then Tuesday, I think I'm going to be remote, and so I will not be live streaming. It seems like we're about to get a blast of crazy weather, which is gonna be exciting, but, y'all say a prayer for our power grid. Oh, sorry, like, I just almost closed out of the window that was I'm live streaming through. So I guess that's everything. Have a great weekend. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to me talk and talk and talk for 42 minutes. Bye.